Hey everyone, Stephanie Lucrezio coming to you live. We are here tonight to update New Jerseyans specifically, but the message and the conversation that we're going to have is applicable to anyone, anywhere in this great country of how vigilant we need to be right now to make sure that our constitutional freedoms are intact. We feel like we have been consistently attacked from all ends, whether it's masks, it's vaccines, it's, mandates for this or shutdowns for that. 2020 has been a doozy. So I know this morning I had shared a couple of action alerts and I had some people saying that they're tired of fighting, and I hear you. I am tired also. We are all so tired. We need to stay vigilant. We need to recognize that we are making a huge difference. It may not feel that way because we're getting it from all ends, but our voices are definitely being heard. So we have a couple of really important announcements, and I never do anything alone. I have an amazing group of women that I work with, and only some of them could be on tonight. There's many more that couldn't be on, but we all work together. We're sounding boards for one another. We really do work together to see what we think the best thing is to do, depending on the situation at hand. So I want to bring on a couple of them, and I hope that I can bring everybody on. So let's do, and then add to stream. Yay, I did it! Okay. Oh my God, I don't know if it's gonna work. So I have with me Sharon from New Jersey for Medical Freedom, Pamira Besman, and Ayla Wolf from New Jersey for Freedom. They are some of the amazing women that I've spent a lot of time on the phone with today, talking all things New Jersey legislation and bills. So ladies, it has been a stressful day, has it not?
Yes, it has.
It has not stopped. So let's talk about the latest offensive bill that is out there, S2814. This bill stands to mandate masks. Basically, as a criminal offense, if you're not wearing one, you could be fined. And in one of the bills, I think it's the Senate version, jail time is still on there. In the Assembly version, it was amended. But we never know what's going to happen the day that they discuss it and what bill will actually become quote unquote law. And I think it's important for people to understand the differences between an executive order and a law. There's a huge difference. So the legislative body is now involved, and we know we have a Democratic majority. So how concerned are you about where we are and what we're dealing with here in New Jersey? Whoever wants to go first.
Really concerning. And I hear you, Stephanie. I'm tired. I don't want to go back to Trenton. I just want to spend the time with my kids. I want to take them pumpkin picking, and I want to enjoy Halloween, and I want to get ready for Christmas, and I don't want to have to do any of this. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, and they know it. They know it, and they're coming for us because they're like, oh, they're doing all these rallies, and the election's coming, and they won't even see this. Well, guess what? We saw it because we saw it. I woke up to this morning and I was like, no, we can't. Once a freedom is lost, it is never regained. So this is not a temporary, like you said, temporary executive order. We have an emergency, right? No, this is going to become a law. And as we know, when things become a law, they can change the laws. They can amend the laws. They can make them anything they want. Right now, there is no medical exemption for this law. There is no verbiage. So you are a trespasser. Your children are trespassers. If they bother to take their mask off, if you happen to be in the store and your child takes a mask off, as we just saw on the airlines the other day, where children were eating and they call, they're going to call security. I mean, this is something where this is going to infringe on our everyday lives. With families. So, I mean, with a law, and then there's no medical exemption, we're criminals.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we read it for the people who haven't been following it? Because we've been waiting for this. We've been watching this. We knew they were going to push this. And the moment we saw it, we knew it was going to come. And, I know there are a lot of people out there who think this kind of evil cannot be true. Let's read it to them, what this is trying to do. So this is Senate Bill number 2814, and everything that Ayla said is written in this bill. I really encourage everyone to go to njledge.state.nj.us and then pull up this bill. The synopsis, I'm going to read it word by word, is as follows. Makes failure to wear mask upon entry into store with posted signage trespass offense during period of public emergency declared by governor in Executive Order 103 of 2020. So what the hell is going on here, if we look a little bit deeper into it, is that just as all the deaths are low and not only flat, but like so close to zero that actually the governor had to say, like, being very low is not enough. We have to achieve zero, as if immortality is an attainable goal. So that's the golden standard now. We have to prove immortality to the governor to get our rights back to breathe in public. Yeah. That's how crazy we are right now. So the deaths are completely almost gone. Hospitalizations are almost completely gone. And that's why they must now keep the illusion up by just constantly counting positive test results. Although we all know, and the science has already proven, that positive test results do not mean anything about having COVID or being infected. Mm. So now, just as we should be completely removing all executive orders, now this is a part of the executive order. The only reason people are wearing masks is because it's in the executive order. Now it's saying now that we're going to make it into law. Because every time somebody goes to a store and they get challenged, they say, well, that's not the law. Well, they're accurate. It's not the law. And now they're passing this to say that now it is the law. But then if you look at the executive order, the wording is very clear. It's only when you're in an indoor space, only when you're not able to socially distance, and only if wearing a mask does not pose a health threat to the wearer. So the wearer has a lot of rights, although people don't know this. It is your right. And then also the executive order is very clear, and the wording is very clear, that nobody can ask you for your medical records to prove your medical condition. That is your private information. So now this bill, as it's written, completely eliminates all of that. Everybody and anybody who goes into a store must wear a mask, even if wearing a mask could push you off the ledge and give you PTSD, give you asthma, give you a heart attack, give you whatever it's going to give you. It doesn't even concern them anymore. They can put you in jail and fine you, either or both.
And you're seeing them taking mothers. Did you hear me? I'm echoing.
You're echoing. Yes.
I was saying that they tased the mother at a game for just watching a game with no mask on.
Right. Exactly. So these are our civil rights being eroded before our eyes. And this is incredible that none of the verbiage from the executive order is in this law. They are thinking they're going to pass this through and get this by us, and then it'll be permanent. But here's the thing with this law. It's saying that it will, on this law right now, it's saying that it'll only be in effect while the governor's emergency order is in effect. But like Pamira said, this is the time we should be opening up. We flatten the curve, hospitalizations are down, things are starting to open. So why would they put that verbiage in there now when we should be opening, when we should be relaxing these rules, when actually the emergency order should be ending? Because they have no intention of ending this. They have no intention of ending the power grab and the violation of our civil rights with this emergency pandemic. Regardless of how things work out, there is no intention to give us back our civil rights once they take them. So they're going to take this mask mandate, and you know what it's going to turn into. You can't enter a store without a mask or you're a criminal. Well, once the COVID vaccine comes out, do you have your COVID? Do you have your certificate of vaccination so that you can enter the store? Because if you don't, you're trespassing. So then you're a criminal. That's what this is going to turn into. And if we don't fight this now, if this easily passes, that's exactly what they're going to jump to, because they're doing it in New York right now. Right now at the Bar Association in New York. Right, Sharon? We have a bus going to New York.
Let's talk about that too.
They are writing an opinion that it's not unconstitutional to mandate the COVID vaccine for every man, woman, and child in New York. So that comes right at the time when they're trying to make it illegal and criminal to wear a mask here. I mean, to not wear a mask here. So you can see how this would easily just slip right into, okay, well, it's illegal not to wear a mask. Oh, they've accepted that because they don't want to be tased and dragged out of the store. They're going to accept that they have to get their COVID vaccination and have their certificate because they don't want to be tased and dragged out of the store. This is all a very evil spider web that they are planning for us, and we need to fight it now, or the next step is coming.
Sharon, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry.
What do you? I feel that Sharon, I want to hear from you a little bit too. You were blocked with my logo. I was able to figure out how to get the 4 Brady Bunch squares while we were talking. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm learning something new.
So as history shows, that people that comply are usually the reasons why there are genocides and slaves. That's what happened in history. It was the people that complied that got us to that. The people that don't comply, the fighters, are the ones that want to push and get our rights and keep our rights. And we need more of these moms and everyone actually just to come out, freedom fighters, come out to Trenton. We all have lives. We all have kids at home. We all have things going on. But this is much more important because once this goes through, and if it goes through, there's no turning back. So as much as I know a lot of people have busy lives right now, everyone needs to come out. We really need everyone's support in Trenton on Thursday because this is do or die now. And everyone needs to stop complying just because you want to go in the store. I go in the stores every day without masks. I went through Hershey Park this weekend without a mask. I don't smile. I don't look too approachable. Maybe that's why. But at the same time, people need to we need to push back. We need to push back. Everyone needs to push back and do their part. Don't be afraid to walk into Target and say, no, I can't wear a mask. Most times, no one even says anything to me in stores. Very rarely do people say anything to me in a store. Put your mask on. I've heard maybe a handful of times since March. The majority people don't want to approach me. I don't know. I don't look too friendly. I don't know. I don't care.
I actually smile down the aisle, and I have to say that I haven't really had a lot of people. And I think for people that are listening that are concerned, because I know most people are concerned about confrontation and having an argument inside of a store. And I really think that we, as the person who's not wearing the mask, set the tone for what that interaction is going to look like. So literally, it's like remember the dolls when we were kids, we used to pull the string and like the thing came spurting out. Like that's literally, if someone says to me, you're not wearing a mask, I say, thank you so much for noticing. I have a health condition. I'm not able to. Thank you for asking. You have a blessed day. And I just keep walking and I smile down the aisle because, I have to believe that people really aren't informed enough to understand what's at stake. And I think that it's our job, instead of being like, oh, it's none of your business, shut the F up, or whatever people want to do, that's not going to get anywhere. Like you're just immediately shutting down the walls of communication. And believe me, there are times where I'm like, but I always kill them with kindness. So for people that are concerned about it, don't let fear and discomfort stop you, because I can guarantee you I'm a whole lot more afraid of what's happening in our government, and I'm a whole lot more uncomfortable with having my rights slowly removed than being the only one in a store without a mask on. I think we have to choose our hard right now, because life is hard in 2020. There's no question about that. It's not an easy thing. So let's talk a little bit about, Pamira, you wanted to say something. So I want to make sure you have a chance to say whatever your thought was before.
Yeah, I just wanted to write on the last thing Ayla was saying, that I think this bill just really seals the deal of that line they're drawing in between society, separating, because they created this dichotomy of maskers and non-maskers. They created this. People, this is new to everyone. Nobody ever identified themselves as maskers or non-maskers until somebody came up with this title. And I know there's millions of dollars of marketing budget, and people sitting in strategy rooms inventing these titles so that people can feel like they belong in a camp. And they know people, especially Americans, we like spectator sports. We like to support certain teams. And then it feels like you're a part of a team. You're in the masker team and then the unmasker team. And all of a sudden it becomes legitimate and justified to be mean to the other party because you want your team to win. But I want to say something. I'm a survivor of sexual assault multiple times. The first time I was around 5 years old. The second time I was 15 years old. In both cases, my attackers covered my mouth and my nose. I'm going to tell you that it's not a comfortable feeling for a lot of people who have had this kind of experience to wear that mask. Every time I put a mask on my face, it makes me feel like I'm being assaulted. It feels like somebody's trying to rape me. I want people to understand this. So when you look at somebody without a mask, without knowing anything about who they are and why they're doing one thing or another, you have to first respect their space as much as you respect your own space. You want to wear your mask, it's your choice, and that's exactly why we're here, to preserve everyone's choice. You have your choice. No one's taking away your right to wear a mask. But you cannot go around society feeling holier than thou that you don't have issues wearing a mask so that everybody else shouldn't have an issue and they're assholes if they have an issue. If you're a rape survivor and if you're cool with it, you feel all right wearing a mask, good for you. There are millions of us who don't feel comfortable with that. And we do not have to constantly subject ourselves to this feeling just because we want to pick up groceries for our babies. This is completely out of control. And we should not have to explain to anyone why we do not want to have our breath restricted. We do not have to feel separated from the rest of society because we choose not to wear a mask or we cannot wear a mask for whatever reason. It's nobody's business. So this bill just seals the deal with that divide. And if you are not going to be able to wear a mask for whatever reason, or if you choose not to wear a mask for whatever reason, then we're going to leave you out and marginalize you. And then God knows what else we're going to do to you, because that's what happens. You know, when you marginalize any group of people and you make them the enemy, and then you give people that feeling that they're better than the others, this is a problem. And they're doing it on all the fronts, on the race issue, on the politics issue. You know, you vote for Trump and, you know, you vote for Biden. You're black, you're white, you're this, you're that. You're constantly separating us. And this is one more way that now they're legalizing that separation, and we're going to fight this off. This is not going to happen under our watch. And whatever legislators are supporting this bill, we are going to expose them. We will not vote for these people again, because we do not want our votes to go towards this kind of legislature.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Because I think I'm frozen.
No.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
A lot of crazy things are happening right now.
Thank you for sharing that for us, because I think a lot of people are under misconception that it's very selfish of us,
Mm-hmm.
that we're being selfish, and that we're deciding that we just don't want to do it because we're not polite, or because we have no care for the rest of humanity. We don't have the greater good in mind, and it's not that at all. In fact, I feel like the most selfish thing is to subject everyone else around you to your own insecurities, then rather live your own life to your best ability and take responsibility for your own health and wellness. If you're sick, you should maybe stay home, or maybe you should make sure that you find another way to get the things that you need if you don't feel safe going out into the world. But for you to say every single other person in the world has to mask up so that I will feel safe, that's selfish. That's very self-indulgent, and that's dangerous, because why should the rest of the world conform to your idea of something that would keep you safe? I mean, it's like, and I would say this, it's like a lucky rabbit's foot. If you think a rabbit's foot keeps you safe, then great, you carry it. But you can't subject the rest of the world to carrying a rabbit's foot so that you will feel that you are protected from a virus. And if we talk about how dangerous these things are, I'm getting calls every day, and I'm sure the rest of us are too, of children that are getting massive sinus infections, headaches, strep throat. I mean, they're being subjected to all this mold and bacteria and viruses that are being stuck in these masks, and they're getting sick. And this is common. I mean, this is state workers, medical workers, children, people who are wearing these masks all day are constantly sick. And for us to say that, oh, that's selfish. Why wouldn't you want to get strep throat for me? I mean, that's extremely selfish to say, well, got to put that mask on and get sick because otherwise I might get sick. We really have to look at things logically here. This is not without risks. Masks are not without risks. And just like Pamira said, for some people have anxiety disorders. Some of our children, they have sensitivities to their faces. They have different things where they just can't wear masks. Some of them are teenagers and they have touch issues and they can't put things on their face. So are we supposed to just keep them home for the rest of their lives because they can't conform to this? That's very dangerous. Extremely.
And I think one of the things that we're seeing, Pamira, I'm so happy that you shared. I got cut off in the middle of what you said. It kicked me off and I came back on. But I think about people who have been in some sort of an assault situation, sexual or otherwise, how traumatic it must be to have your face covered. I'm a person who has never had anxiety in my life. And since I had to wear that mask for that short period of time when I didn't know that I had any other options, I literally, in the middle of Home Depot, had a complete and total anxiety attack. I have never had an anxiety attack in my 41 years of life. And I had a massive anxiety attack followed by an insane pounding migraine like I've never had before. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So, I think for people to assume that just because you don't have a mask on that you're selfish is really cruel on the part of the person, because it's so judgmental and so critical when you have no idea. That saying, everyone is struggling with something that you have no idea about, so just be kind. When did that philosophy go out the window and it become a finger pointing contest of I'm a better human than you because I'm doing something to harm my health? Not to mention the fact, what are you noticing in your kids other than the physical ailments? My son definitely has been impacted with, certain anxiety issues and things that he has coming up now because their worlds have literally been shaken upside down, up all over the place. The routine is completely gone. They're going into school uncomfortable with wearing the mask. They don't want to be the only one not wearing the mask. So it's like the world has gone crazy. And I feel like these conversations and bringing light to these issues is so important so people understand the why you come to Trenton, what's at stake. That's the reason that we all drag our asses down to Trenton and stand in the annex and do the things that we do.
Right. It's true. I mean, there's a lot of rallies going on right now. There's a rally every other day. There's a rally in every part of the state, and we certainly have driven to many of them. We're all over the place, but there's nothing more important than showing up. And our people know this in the medical freedom movement. There's nothing more important than showing up when there's a bill on the table, when there's a bill in committee, when there's a bill on the agenda that's going to be voted on and become law. There's nothing more important than that. And right now, this is huge. This is war. I mean, they've actually introduced a bunch of bills that are just disgusting. Like now there's the bill about the libraries where they can just get rid of books. They can just toss books. They don't have to ask the public. They don't have to offer them to the public. They could just throw them away. They're just trying to destroy our history. They're releasing criminals the day after the election. Like 1,200 criminals they're releasing right after the election. And for the election, there's a bill that's on the table right now to limit police at any polling station.
Right. And lockbox too.
And the ballot.
And the lockboxes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why would you want to limit police at polling stations and lockboxes and then release a bunch of criminals the next day?
Right.
What's going on here? Like, we really need to pay attention. We need to fight what we can. And this is our battle on Thursday. We need to get to Trenton. We need to show them that we care.
Yeah. Absolutely. That we're watching.
What I find so insulting about this, what you just said, Ayla, they are not only just doing it behind our backs, they're putting it into bills. They are making a mockery of our democratic legislative process to make a fool out of us, to enslave us, and to do things against our best interests. And I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish with this. It's either arrogance or they're crazy. They've gone mad. I think maybe they just became so corrupt that they've lost all touch with reality that they think now they're just going to get away with anything. So the whole concept of our legislative process is that we elect people in this representative democracy that we think we're going to represent us. And then because we can't all be going to Trenton and voting for ourselves, we tell those legislators our issues, the things we need to improve our lives. And by the way, by definition, laws are supposed to be put in place to protect our rights, not to take away our rights. That's not the purpose of laws. Laws and constitutions, they're there to protect the citizens. So now, then they're just going to come up with like some party line BS agenda, and then they distribute it amongst themselves at their little, meeting. And then they say, you take this one, you take this one, you take this one, so we look like we're equally represented. So they give one of them to a black guy, they give one of them to a Latino lady, and then the white old dude takes the other one. And then they're all like pushing the same list that came out from the same whoever puts them together, obviously, because these are not coming from the constituents.
No. These
Senator
are people
Cody
given bills.
is my senator, who in Essex County, how many thousands of people in Essex County picked up the phone and called Senator Cody and asked him, we need to jail the people at the grocery store who are not wearing masks, even if they're 6 feet apart from us. Who from the constituents asked for this bill? For this other bill that, they're going to reduce police presence at lockboxes. Who from the constituents, New Jersey residents, asked for this bill? And they want to put it into law? Why is that? How is this working? How is this democracy? I think we need to call these people out on this craziness that we need to take our legislature back from these people. Yeah. This is our state house. This is our state. These laws, in the end, are supposed to represent the people. We are not okay with this. So this call to action for the Thursday rally, this is not for the medical freedom people. This is not for you can do whatever you want with your masks, with your vaccines, take all the drugs in the world, whatever you want. It's your choice. If you are a human being who values your choices, who values your freedom, who values the Constitution, if you're a patriot, please come out and stand with us. We need every single one of you. Because when we allow them to take us down this path of corruption, there is no coming back. It's going to be masks today, vaccines tomorrow. Then they're going to collect your guns, which they did in another state. They have collected this actually came out from Canada earlier. They're collecting people's guns, and then they're also pushing the mandatory COVID vaccine at the same time. Why are you collecting people's guns when you're pushing mandatory COVID vaccine? Because people who don't want that will protect themselves, will defend themselves, and it would be their constitutional right to do so. Mm-hmm. So if you're a patriot, we need you. Come out and stand up for our rights and choice, please.
And I want to address the medical freedom people specifically, because I know that behind the scenes, there's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of people that don't want to be the anti-masker and the anti-vaxxer, which we're not anti either. We're just for choice over our physical bodies. I'm not anti anything. People don't want to connect the dots. And I truly, in every fiber of my being, my biggest fear when I laid my head on the pillow at night is the fact that these masks are so intertwined and so connected to the vaccine. Because what's happening right now is they are making our lives so uncomfortable, so restrictive, so miserable. They're pitting people against each other. They're taking away our humanity, our connection, our empathy for one another. And the way that this story ends, the way that you get your life back, the key to your freedom, your children's freedom, your businesses being open is go and get your COVID vaccine. No, we're not going to mandate it, quote unquote, but we're going to severely restrict you from moving about the cabin of life, being able to come and go as you please, sending your children to school. I mean, they say, they're not going to mandate it. Okay, they're not going to mandate it, but I won't be able to fly. I won't be able to drive a car, renew my license. I won't be able to go into certain stores without this pass that you're going to get for COVID. We're seeing it in Australia. We're seeing it in all these countries. So the people that are in medical freedom, I said it the last time we were in Trenton, and I'm going to say it again. At the end of the day, we have to advocate for our families and our bodies the way that we see fit. I don't conform to any governing body. I don't conform to any institution. I don't conform to any leader from any groups telling me how it is that I need to advocate for myself and my family. And I would highly encourage everyone to step outside of any boxes that you've put yourself in, any groups that you're affiliated with, and to really understand what's at stake right now. Because like Ayla said, like Pamira said, like Sharon said, once those freedoms are taken, getting them back is a whole new set of issues, and that process is going to be lengthy. We are heading towards the Handmaid's Tale right now. Like, blessed be the fruit, the Lord open. Like, that's where it's going. So if we don't stop the madness and get over pointing fingers and saying, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should worry about yourself. When you're walking through the supermarket, all you should be worried about is what items you're putting in your cart that are either supporting your health or not supporting your health. Not what I'm doing, not what I'm wearing, not my mask or my no mask or my gloves, my face visor, what the hazmat suits I see people walking around in. That shouldn't have any effect on you. And that's really the most divisive, insidious thing that's happening right now. Is it is becoming a virtue signaling thing. Like you said, by not wearing the mask, we're not good humans. And Pamira's story tonight just shares how much goes on beneath the surface that nobody knows. I didn't know that about you until tonight.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, most of us, we don't go around, with advertising these things. A lot of times these are not talked about. And just the way, you have medical situations or a history. I mean, you shouldn't even have to explain to anyone these things. Right? There should be that, gentle respect and acceptance and tolerance. What happened to that?
And if it becomes a law, we don't have that. We don't even have that recourse. We have police call. Like that's it. They just, well, can I speak to the manager? No, we're calling the police. Can I speak to the owner? No, we're calling the police. You're trespassing. You need to leave or you're being dragged off the premises.
Well, yeah, and trespassing, it's not even not wearing a mask. Mm-hmm. Trespassing, they're now putting it into a whole different realm. You're now a felon. Yeah. Who is trespassing? Like as if you're going into a forbidden place without permission. It's a grocery store. It's a for-profit location open to everyone for purchasing things, right? Like, how is this being turned into you trespassing?
Think about high school kids. Like, how is this going to affect our high school kids? I mean, will they? If a high school kid in a high school takes his mask off to breathe, will he be carted away and arrested for trespassing? I mean, we just saw that. Did that happen in Florida? It just happened somewhere where a child, I think he was a teenager, like 15 or 16, he had an anxiety attack and threw up and took his mask off, and he was carted away by police. And he was trying to explain to the police officer that he had just thrown up and he needed some water, and they didn't care. They arrested him. So what will happen in New Jersey if this becomes law to our children, really? I mean,
let's think about that. New Jersey has one of the highest autism rates. You have kids that have sensory disorders. You have kids that have issues with communication, being able to read lips, understand language. There's so many barriers for our children. And, I called into 101.5 today. I don't know if any of you heard it. I didn't get a chance to post it, but they were talking about the job that Governor Murphy's doing. And they said that the interesting thing was when they polled that 70% approved of his job overall and 62% approved of his job with COVID. It might've been vice versa, but those were the numbers. And they were saying that the interesting correlation was many of the people who approved of the job he's doing with COVID are very much for mandatory masks. When they polled, 77% of New Jerseyans are for mandatory masks, which terrifies the crap out of me because it means that people are just listening to Fauci the clown spew whatever message he's being plugged that day by Bill Gates and all the other people that are his puppeteers. So here he is yesterday saying now masks work again. 2 weeks ago, they didn't work. Now they work. And people are just like blindly believing. So that's a scary thing to think about. 77% of New Jerseyans.
I don't believe those polls. First of all, when they said he has 70% approval rating, Sharon and I found that. We found that poll. It's a closed college poll. It was taken at one college, a pharmaceutical college at that. Yeah. And no one else is allowed to even participate in that poll. So it was college students at a pharmaceutical college. That's where they got that 70% approval rating for Murphy. What they keep. everyone's, oh, 70%. Well, you know, he must be doing something right. People are approving. And even our legislators, I had that spouted to me by a couple of legislators. Like, well, there's not much we can do. He's got a 70% approval rating at one college.
At one
poll at a
it
farm
was to the public, you know. Yeah. You ask anyone. I wasn't asked to take a poll. Were you? I was
never.
No. I mean,
we called any of us.
Go on his threads and you see the comments by the public. I think that's just an indication of his ratings not being that popular. If you look at the, you know, just what the public is saying.
Right.
I think it's got to be a lie because, I mean,
It definitely is.
Look at all of the rallies. I mean, not to get political, but look at all the Trump rallies. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people in New Jersey running around, you know, saying they're, you know, jumping up and down, waving flags, you know, at golf courses, you know, they're just excited. I mean, there's 1,000 people that show up just to wave flags. Right. And they're not doing anything else. They're just excited to be out there. And none of those people are supporting Murphy. None of them. So I don't know. I have a really hard time believing any of that. I think that I think they're trying to steal this election, definitely. And I think that they're trying to suppress our voices, especially locally. They don't want us to vote against the people that are terrorizing us and submitting us to tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
But by saying, well, no, everyone else agrees with us. But I don't think people do. I think if given the choice, I think most of us here in New Jersey would take those masks off and throw them away. We just feel compelled.
Agreed.
Yeah, and a lot of people are good citizens. You know, this is an American thing. I grew up overseas, so I'll share this with you. I find it very funny. You know, whenever I speak with friends from overseas that grew up in other countries, we realize that there's a thing as an honor system in America, which is a wonderful ethical system, which people are bred to follow the rules and be good citizens. And I think it's because maybe the welfare level is quite high, that it doesn't have to be like cutthroat, that you are able to just be and let be without being so competitive. Even if you follow the rules, you're not being left behind. Whereas in many other countries, you know, if the teacher like turns his back during an exam, everybody will be cheating. There will be like notes flying, you know, everybody will pull like cheat sheets out of their sleeves, out of their skirts. Like they will have scrolls up hidden in a tooth. Like the techniques people have developed, like you can't even imagine that I saw when I was growing up as a teenager. I hear in an American school, there's honor system. The teacher can leave the room, get coffee, and come back. People will not cheat because, like, now Americans are good citizens. We're good people. We want everybody to be fair and whatever. So, you know, a lot of people are just trusting that the system is fair, and then they're just trusting that the people who are telling us what to do have our best interest in mind, and then they're not corrupt. Unfortunately, now our goodwill and naivete are being used against us. So there comes a point where we have to recognize that, and we have to stop, you know, our goodness from being used against us, against our families, and most importantly, our goodness today is being used to take away the future of our children tomorrow. So what niceties you're doing to be polite to the person you don't even know in the grocery store that you will never ever see again, to not offend them, you are taking that right away from your child, that your child will grow up in a world where they will not even have a choice to wear a mask or not to wear a mask, or get a vaccine or not to get a vaccine. So this is why it's so important to preserve the choice and separate being a good citizen from being led on and taken advantage of. Honestly, we're being taken advantage of right now. And we need to become lions. And
really, I'm sorry.
And that doesn't make us, you know, crazies. You know, being a part of a good citizen is to defend the rights we have and defend the democracy we have and defend the systems we have. And this takes courage, and it may be uncomfortable for some people, but I highly recommend it. You'll feel better. Do it.
I think it's really important that we need to show our children how to fight for freedom. And in front of our children, the most important thing we are doing here is teaching our children how to be warriors. And I've said this before, when you go out into the world, the people who are telling you to wear masks, they're bullies. They're the biggest bullies, right? And so if your child doesn't see you stand up to that bully and how to stand up to that bully, then your child is never going to learn those skills. So when they're on their own and we're gone and that child has to go out into the world and these bullies are still out there, they're not going to know how to navigate that.
Right.
We need to teach our children how to be warriors and how to stand up. And we do it by example. And we do it every day. Like when we walk into the store, even if that child feels a little embarrassed right now, or even if it's a little uncomfortable, this is how we learn. Like Pamira said, we're mama lions.
Yeah.
And we're teaching our cubs. A lioness doesn't teach her cubs how to stand up to the bullies in the jungle, to the hyenas in the jungle. That cub is going to get eaten up when it grows up. It's never going to grow up. It's never going to have a good life. It's not going to be a provider. It's not going to be king of the jungle. That's for sure. So we need to teach our children to be warriors, and this is all part of it. And when our mamas bring our children to Trenton, you're showing your child the most valuable lesson they can ever learn.
Right.
You're teaching them how to stand up for their rights, and when they grow up, that's what they're going to do. They're going to do exactly that. And we need that right now. It's so important.
Yes, they need to see that. They need to see what their mamas are doing in Trenton and how we're fighting for their rights, so that when they get older, if God forbid it happens in their lifetime, that they have to do it, they need to do. And we need to do that. In the beginning, my daughter was very much with, we have to wear the mask. We have to, listen to the rules. But now she's starting to see me and see what's going on and hearing what's going on. Now she knows, and she's laid off the mask more, but she feels pressure when she's around friends, which is fine. But even the friends now and then, when they're around me, especially, they see, you can give pushback.
Exactly.
At this stage of the game and in this world we're in right now, you can't just go with the rules now. Now it's like you have to stand up for your rights. You have to stand up for yourself and what you want and what's right for you. There's so many sicknesses that people don't realize that people can have, like we talked earlier with the masks, and even children with the anxiety. Going back to school is an anxiety-ridden event as it is, because they've been out of school for so long. And then to boot, now they're going to be walking around with masks, and the teachers telling them, put your mask on, and getting pressure from the peers to put their masks on. It's a lot for these children, but they need to learn how to stand up for themselves now. Now is go time for them to learn. There's too much going on for us just to lay low and say, it'll die out. It's not going to die out if we just sit down. So
it's never going to go away. Like we keep saying, let's just wait. A couple weeks it'll go away. Well, maybe in a couple months. Well, it's almost Christmas. After the election, it's going to go away. Well, guess what? They're making a law right now. It's not going away. It's not going away. If it was going to go away after the election, they wouldn't be putting it into law right now, right before the election.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like going to Planned Parenthood when you're 6 months pregnant and asking for birth control. Like, why would you mandate masks now, 6 months, 7 months into a pandemic when there's no emergency?
Right.
If we didn't have Governor Murphy keeping us on lockdown, we would not know that there's a pandemic. There's no pandemic. Mm-hmm. The hospitals are free. Nothing is happening. People aren't dying anymore. People aren't being hospitalized. It's just finished. It's over. It's just that agenda that's being dragged on and on. And we just need to draw the line here. It's gotten out of control.
Draw the line in the sand.
And that's what Thursday is about, drawing the line in the sand. Can you guys hear me? Because we're frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we're having some, I have a perfect Wi-Fi signal, no issues. So I don't know if it's being censored on the platforms that we're using it on, but I just want to make sure that we get the calls to action in there before this broadcast could potentially be interrupted, because it's been very troublesome this whole time. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm like the Wizard of Oz back here, but I don't know what's happening. But I want to make sure that people understand, like, coming on Thursday, clear your calendars. There is nothing more important that you could be doing on Thursday than being in Trenton that day. Leading up to Thursday,
So yes,
to the email that you put together to help people?
Yes, so we put together a template letter that we're going to share with you on our website, where you can just copy the template letter, send it out to all the legislators on the Senate Judiciary Committee. We want you to make phone calls. We want you to sign up in the hundreds to testify live on Thursday, because we need to get our voices heard. We need them to understand that they're doing this against the people's will and give them a pause. Mm-hmm. So we have spelled out everything step by step on New Jersey for Freedom website. Anna put it all together. We're going to share the link with you. The whole call to action is there. And then we will also share it in the comments here as soon as we can. So you just need to go and click on registration form at the page of the Senate Judiciary Committee meeting. You need to click on registration form and fill in your name and fill in that the bill number and that you're opposing it. And also click the checkbox to provide testimony. Mm-hmm. So then you will be put into the queue. But send in your letter to the legislators so that it goes into the official record. You must do that the day before the actual hearing, I believe by 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, but shoot for an earlier time. So you give yourselves a little bit of, extra slack. Like shoot for midday on Wednesday, mm-hmm. and then you can rest comfortably that it went in. And then
and
go ahead.
No, and we actually have a video. Innovative Parenting was kind enough to actually take a video of the process to sign up for registration. So I shared that on my page earlier. I know that it's on there as well. So if you're having trouble with the website, definitely go on and make sure that you sign up to record your opposition. And if you're willing to testify, make sure that you put that in there as well.
And when you do that, they are taking testimony. Right now, they're saying they are taking testimony. So yeah, follow the video, put it in there. They're saying they are taking it in person if you're willing to wear a mask, or virtual if you cannot wear one. So you'll have to decide at this point, are you going to wear a mask to testify against this mask bill? Or are you going to virtually testify and not wear the mask? Obviously they're putting us in the hot seat here, but I'd say sign up, because no matter what, we are cog in the wheel. We are throwing a little wrench in that wheel and that turning. So we need them to know that there's a lot of opposition, that there are a lot of people that are going to want to testify in person or virtually. I mean, you have your choice of how you want to do it, or you can just send in your letter, go on the website and you can email, tweet, you can call them. I mean, that's all very important, and do that now leading up until Thursday, because they need to hear our voices. They need to be scared of us. They need to know that we're going to be showing up Thursday. So let's tell them now, not, we don't like this. We don't approve of this. This is not people-sponsored bill. The people do not want this. Right. Do not pass it. It's not supported, and we are going to vote you out if you continue to violate our civil rights in such an egregious manner as this. So, call all day tomorrow, and you can do it all day long. You can send them emails all day long. You can send them tweets all day long, and definitely sign up to testify, whether in person or virtual.
Right.
And when you call, be authentic, speak your mind, speak your heart. These are all important issues. And then make sure you follow up with an email. Everything you're saying on the phone, put it in an email so they also have a record of it, so that that they received it. And also then ask where the senator stands on this, and whether or not he has considered all the different perspectives, and that you as a constituent have not voiced your opinion on this. Whose opinion is the senator taking into account when voting on this issue that will affect nobody but the people, if they're not taking into account the people's perspective on this? And saying that other people want it is not an excuse. If other people want to put everybody else in jail, are we going to just jail everyone? If other people want to go around raping other people, are we going to allow that to happen? Like, if other people want to do things that take away your rights and liberties and put your family at a disadvantage, are we gonna be okay with that? That is not how laws work. So other people want it is not even an explanation. There is no scientific justification. There is no legal grounds for defending this position whatsoever right now, especially that there's no pandemic at the moment.
Right.
And
so
I said today when I called, I said, I was a registered Democrat for a really long time, and you've left me no choice but to leave this party because you're terrorizing my basic constitutional rights. So this is the first time in a very...
You lost Stephanie.
Yeah, it looks like
that I'm voting red down the line, my family and our constitutional freedoms.
I think it's important for the Democrats
oh my God.
that. Don't be mean to the Republicans. Unfortunately and fortunately, they are already on our side for this topic. So let them know what you think and thank them for their support. No need to harp on them. The Democrats, I am also a registered Democrat, and it really saddens me that my own party has abandoned me when it comes to the matters of freedom and constitutional rights and liberties. And my body, my choice. Only when it's not, it only works if I want to get an abortion. For anything else, it doesn't work. How does that add up? And I really feel abandoned by my party. So those of us who are Democrats, I think we really need to let our legislators know how we feel about that. It's not okay.
Right.
And we want the Democratic Party to do better. Really, they're going down a horrible path. It's just not American at all.
No, it's completely un-American.
I mean, nobody wants a one-party system. Nobody wants one. I think all four of us on this screen have all started out as Democrats. And how can we vote right now in New Jersey Democrat? How? I mean, there's no way possible that we can vote for these people at this point. And it's sad to destroy our two-party system. We need more parties, not less. Unfortunately, the one party is just more bought than the other at this point. So I think if you're going to do the letters, or I think that we want them printed out, we come to Trenton with you. So we're going to be taking affidavits, which is basically just a letter. And what you would do is explain how this bill affects you, and ask. I mean, whose authority? By what authority do these people have to write these ridiculous mandates for us? And how dare they? And how would they affect your life, or how have they affected your life? And you can bring that letter, however you want to write it, and bring that to Trenton. Bring 2 copies, because we're going to probably have notary publics there, and we're going to notarize them, and we're going to enter them into a lawsuit, because we're going to sue the pants off of these guys. They're not going to get away with this. They are not going to get away with terrorizing us over and over and over again. So go ahead and do your letters and bring them to Trenton, and we're going to notarize. We'll have notary publics right there. We'll notarize them, and we'll enter them into the lawsuit. We're going to sue the pants off of them.
Shall we go over the logistics for Trenton before we have to wrap up? So 10 a.m. on October 22nd, this coming Thursday, we're meeting in Trenton, New Jersey at the State House Annex. So it's
what happened to her?
Trenton, New Jersey, State House Annex. Yes. Our people know 125 State Street.
State Street, yeah.
And, we'll be right at the U, at the fountain. And it's just a very organic grassroots protest. I mean, they're going to be voting on this in committee. I'm sorry, Primera, you cut off.
Thank you for jumping in. I didn't even know.
Primera. I don't know how.
They're going to be voting on this in committee. So we want to be there at 10 a.m. They're supposed to be voting at 11, but you never know with these guys. They're going to be there, they'll be there at 9. So we'll be there at 10. We'll be there before they're voting. We want to let them know how we feel. We want to be there to testify if we have to testify virtually. We can be out there on our cell phones testifying virtually. We can be in the building testifying with masks if that's your choice. But we all need to be testifying right there in front of the building. Loud voices, bring your signs, bring your bullhorns. Let's fight this.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring your
People
kids,
around you,
because
as always,
honestly, I
bring
say
your
it every single
children.
time. There's nothing better than making sure that the kids are involved in this process.
Yes.
Like, to make sure that they're there. Are you muted, Pamira? Because I don't see the mute mic on your thing.
I'm not muted.
StreamYard's really messing with me tonight, man.
Yeah.
Holy
I'm
crap.
not muted.
I actually
Can you hear
signed
me?
off on my phone, on my computer, and came back on my phone. Pamira,
Can anyone hear me?
yeah. Check on the bottom. See the icon. It doesn't show that you're muted on my end.
No, I'm not muted.
So weird. We're reading her lips. She's like a little mime. She's a beautiful little mime.
I can hear her, but you can't.
Only Stephanie can't hear me. Everybody else can hear me. Stephanie's like, I don't know what she's saying.
I can't.
We're gonna get this message out no matter what.
Not wearing a mask. She can read the lips.
Oh,
I'm going to censor this message. So listen, we worked through a lot of technological issues this last hour, and I thank you ladies for being patient. I don't know what the actual what took place. I've never had this happen before, but then again, I've never had 4 people on. So it's been an interesting hour. I think that we've driven home the reasons why they need to be there. Make sure that you check out the action alerts. We've all shared it today. The list of all the senators that you need to call is right there in the Facebook post. I can share the link. Do make sure that you make those phone calls. And like we said, make it personal. Make sure that you're letting them know how this makes you feel, the things that you're concerned about. Make sure that they're reading the bills, because we're finding that some of these people aren't even reading the bills that they're signing off on. So we need to make sure they know what they're voting for. And on the day of, show up with your kids. If you can vote, be there to testify, whether it's in person or not in person, you make the call. I mean, I might sacrifice putting a mask on to go into that building and see those people face to face. I don't know. I don't really like it. I have to wear a face shield when I teach yoga, which I'm not happy about. So maybe I could rock my face shield. Testifying just so they could see my eyeballs in person. But I think that regardless of how you do it, I think that it's so important that our voices are heard. So make sure that you're there. 10 o'clock. We don't know what time. I mean, what time do you say we're going to be there until? Ayla, you're the time queen because,
So I don't know. It depends on how quickly they vote on this bill. Hopefully we'll have some insiders in there for the vote and we'll know. I think it's going to be an organic thing. We have to be flexible. I don't see us being there all day. I don't see us being there until the nighttime or anything. I see us being there, making our voices heard, doing our testimonies, and, rocking that house, screaming and shouting, chanting, the people do not want this. And hopefully they listen to us and the committee does not pass through committee that day. But I think we'll have to go from there.
Someone said I will bring my bubble protest my bubble boy suit to the protest.
That's the next thing, right? We'll be wearing bubble boy suits.
Yeah, it's
careful, they may mandate it.
She's still muted.
Right.
I feel so bad, Pamira. You're muted. It's like they're silencing you. It's like
the
StreamYard mask.
Oh, you can't hear her, Stephanie.
Only you can't hear
sad. No, we still can't hear. All right, so we're going to call this StreamYard. We're going to end this now because it has been an absolute circus this last hour. My literally sweating. Like I'm sweating profusely trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So we got the point across. Trenton, 10 o'clock. We're going to be doing more lives coming. Check for action alerts. Make those phone calls. Do not be intimidated to get on the phone with these people. We put them into office. They need to hear from us. No one else is going to make your calls for you. We've actually put together a templated letter that includes some studies that you can cite because a lot of these people don't know about that recent CDC study. Yes, it was a small group, but there are no studies on masking people, for the long haul. So we need to make sure that we resist with every fiber of our being. Let's continue to show up, to stand up, to rise up, to be bold, to be brave, to be the change that we wish to see in the world. It is more important now than ever before. So if you need support, you need a way to get down there. Please reach out to me, reach out to any of the ladies on this call. We know people from all over the state. Do not be intimidated to come. There is parking. There are going to be so many of us there. We will welcome you with open arms, and you will be part of a community that gets you like-minded, like-hearted people that just want the freedom to raise their families and do what they choose for their bodies the way it should be. It was put into the Constitution. So come on down, be with us. I thank you ladies for being on and for being so patient with my technology challenges. Me and StreamYard are going to have a nice little feedback session after this. So if you have any questions, reach out and we will definitely see you all on Thursday. Love you all so much. Sending you love and light and
Get some rest tonight. Maybe have a glass of wine.
God bless everyone.
Okay, take care.
Good
Take care.
night,
Love you all.
Good night.
Bye.